Hello everybody, welcome back to the channel. I'm Gebo the Shaman, and today we're talking about what happens when we have Libra in our Ascendant. So this is going to be a in-depth look, an in-depth analysis of Libra Ascendant, because as you may or may not know, the ascendant in somebody's chart really determines their whole entire chart, because this is what the houses are based on and stuff like that. So it's a very it's a very important aspect of somebody's chart. So anyway, so it forms the entirety of the chart. It's not just one sign. It's where each and every sign is placed in your house systems, and that kind of forms the entirety of who you are, in a sense. So, alright, so before we get into the good stuff, I'd just like to let you guys know that I am a Vedic astrologer. I do Vedic astrology readings for a living, and so I have a bunch of courses, products, services, a bunch of stuff that you can get to support the channel. And not only that, it's like I don't want people just to buy stuff from me just to support me, but this is valuable information that you could learn a lot from. So if you're interested in anything that I have to offer, then you can go to gebotheshaman.com. I have all my stuff on sale right now, so you can see it all down there, gebotheshaman.com. And yeah, that's about it. So let's get into the video. So, Libra Ascendant. I have to say, I am a Libra Ascendant, and I also, one of the things about having a Libra Ascendant is that your whole chart is upside down. So this is like, every sign is in the exact opposite house. So, for example, Cancer. That Cancer belongs naturally in the 4th house. But in the Libra Ascendant's chart, it's in the exact opposite house. It's in the 10th house. Which creates a very it's just not ideal to have the sign of your home life in your work environment, and vice versa. So your work is at your home. The sign of Capricorn would be the 10th house, and that's placed in your 4th house. Nobody wants to work, to have their work stuff come into their home life. That's just not it. However, you can see that I do work from home, and that's a common thing with Libra Ascendants. There's, some aspect of home. If they don't, work at their home, they'll do some kind of a home care or some, something involving the home, nurturing people, blah, blah, blah. So yeah, Libra Ascendant, I have to say, I did a video kind of explaining this, the paradox of it's called the Paradox of Libra Ascendant, I think. And yeah, I just go into the different the backwardsness of Libra. So, you know, with this position, or with this placement, Libra, Ascendant, this tends to make people a codependent. And I speak for myself when I say that, because I know that I am very codependent and I'm working on it. Codependence Anonymous is a great program for that. Coda.org. So yeah, this can make you very people-pleasing, very codependent. It's it's just not not very fun. But I mean, there are very good things about Libra ascendants, I will say that. So yeah, so anyway, so you know, Libra naturally wants to make peace, wants to make, you know, everything harmonious and beautiful and easy, and you know, just wants everything to be smooth sailing in terms of relationships, in terms of daily work habits, everything. So that's kind of your main objective, or your main priority in life, I feel like. And you know, it wants to bring balance, it wants to bring harmony. So, especially in relationships. So, you know, instead of putting your own needs first, like an Aries would do, you put the needs of others first. You put the needs of the group or the relationship or others first. And you know, you don't need to do that. So it's almost like you need to relearn how to put yourself first, I'll say that, and take care of yourself. So yeah, it's a process of learning how to do that, and that can be very tough. And like I said, you could be codependent. In that case, I would recommend coda.org. Coda.org. So let's talk about the second house. Your second house is in Scorpio, and me personally, I have Saturn here, so that's fun. Second house represents nourishment from your mother, like the things that she gave you, her, you know, this is where we get our value from our mother. And you know, it's pretty tough. It's, you know, it's Scorpio, seventh house. Scorpio carries with, or sorry, Scorpio in the second house. Scorpio carries with it just a very dark and heavy energy. It's considered to be like, you know, scorpions carry poison with them in their tail. So yeah, it's almost like a feeling of your mother being very cruel to you, being abusive, you know, not caring about your feelings, Scorpio is a water sign, but it's more of a I care about my own feelings kind of thing, and screw your feelings kind of thing. Because Mars, it's ruled by Mars, so Mars is all about me, all about being selfish and self-interested and things like that. So it's all about my feelings and my stuff. And from your mother's perspective, she was all about her. So, and yeah, it's instead of getting the nourishing, nurturing milk and goodness from your mother, like love, attention, affection, affirmation, all the things that we need when we're growing up. Instead of, milk and honey, she gave you basically poison, venom. So yeah, that's fun. So so that ties in with the fourth house, which I'll jump into. Fourth house is so the second house was your nurturing from your mother. This also represents your savings account, which is up and down. Like you can have a lot of money come in, and then nope, and then it just goes right away. That's that sudden transformation energy of Scorpio. That sudden ups and downs and gains and losses and things like that. Having that in your second house of savings is not the best or not the most fun thing ever. So yeah. So then we'll talk about the fourth house. The fourth house is Capricorn. So yeah, so fourth house, what does the fourth house represent? This represents your mother. And so this represents your relationship with your mother. It represents how you view your mother, how your mother was with you. And with Capricorn, boy, there's a sense of abandonment. There's a sense of her being at work all the time and not having any time for you, and pawning you off on oh shit, I just this just snapped with me. So what my mother would do is she would leave me with my grandparents, which Capricorn represents old people. so there's that. So yeah, you might be left with your grandparents. You might be left with, like, I don't know, it could be anything, but there's just a sense of mom being gone and being abandoned and not being cared for, not being looked after, not being paid attention to or given love, affection, affirmation, nurturing, anything like that. And so, so, I feel bad for Libra ascendants. I know that's projection, and that's because I'm feeling bad for myself, but, can't help can't help the feelings anyway. Yeah. So let's talk about the third house. Since I went from like the second to the fourth. Third house is Sagittarius. So the third house is the house of siblings, the house of your courage, your communication, your intellect, things like that. So this is the house of siblings as well, if I didn't mention that. And Sagittarius is far places. It's like, going across the country or something like that. It's traveling to, foreign countries, things like that. Especially, I would say international travel is more Pisces, but it can also be Sagittarius. So this means that you are not close to your siblings. It means that, for me, my siblings don't live in the same city as me, as far as I know. I'm not close with them. They live, kind of close, but not really. Anyway, they have their own lives and whatever, so, yeah. This also means, well, you would have to check your I would say check your Mercury placement, also your Mars and Jupiter placements, but there could be some quarrels around philosophy with your siblings. There could be some, disagreements about philosophy, spirituality, things like that. Politics could be. Yeah, so anyway, there's that. So third house, this is the house of our intellect. So Sagittarius, as you know, I am very into astrology and things like that. So being a Libra Ascendant, my intellect automatically goes into spirituality, into for you or for another Libra Ascendant, this could be spirituality, religion, philosophy, higher education, and teaching. So if you have this placement, that means that you could be a very effective communicator, especially when it comes to teaching. So that's what I do. So yeah, that's kind of your wheelhouse, is kind of that spirituality, philosophy, even higher education could be, you could do very well with communication in those regards, in those, subject areas and stuff like that. Alright, fifth house. Since we already did the second, third, and fourth house, fifth house, you got Aquarius in your fifth house. So what is the fifth house? The fifth house is the house of your fun, creativity, pleasure, romance, sex, It's creating children. This is also the house of your children, the house of your relationship with your children, things like that. So Aquarius takes all the fun out of of the fifth house. You know, your sense of fun could be very, like, indulging in very quirky things, very out of the box things, very weird things, very esoteric things, very eclectic things. And so, you know, your sense of fun would be, I don't know, just like, this is your creative expression, so it would be about strange things. So there's that. I have moon in the fifth house, so there's that. Alright, so what more can I say about the fifth house? It's really hard for me to even, like, I mean, I have this same placement, and I said this on my, Aquarius in the fifth house video. That might be a good video to go back and watch, to get more detailed information about this. But yeah, I said this in that video too. This is a very hard placement to kind of analyze because it's just so strange. Aquarius is always very hard to place. So Aquarius is the water bearer. It is about helping people, humanitarianism, giving back. It's it's new age technology. It's, building like the technology that can help people do things more efficiently, make society better. It's this like grand vision of like humanity and what humanity could be. Think about Elon Musk, for example. That would actually be a damn good example, because what is he doing right now? He just bought Twitter. So he wants to make it like a free speech area. So, I mean, a free speech platform. He wants to help humanity. He wants to go to space, go to Mars, go to the moon, things like that. And, electric cars, making things more efficient, more like less dependent on coal and things like that. And, this is all Aquarius stuff. Making satellites for, third world countries so they can actually get internet and get, educated and learn stuff and learn how to become more self-sufficient and all kinds of things that can benefit people who don't have that, Of course, there's still areas still struggling to get, fresh, clean water, but, and I think that's like a bigger deal, but people have been trying to tackle that for generations, so yeah, so think of Elon Musk, and then we want to combine that energy with the fifth house, which is fun, creativity, creative expression, joy, happiness, some sexual activity, things like that. So, you know, in fact, that might be a good video for me to make to analyze Elon Musk's chart. I'll see if I can do that. I'll see if I can actually get his accurate birth date and birth time, because that's important too. If you don't know your exact birth time, you can go here to get your birth time rectification. Go to GeboTheShaman.com. That's on sale right now. So yeah, let's move on to the 6th house. My throat and lips are extremely dry today, so excuse me. Alright, 6th house, Pisces. 6th house is the house of enemies. 6th house is a Dastana house. Houses 6, 8, and 12 are Dastana houses, if I'm saying that correctly. So, yeah, this is an interesting one. 6th house, you might have some foreign enemies, like people who maybe screwed you over from a foreign country or something like that. Telemarketers, scammers, something like that, internet scammers and whatever. So that could be something that you had to deal with at one point, especially during your Jupiter Dasha, or I shouldn't say that, because it would depend on if Jupiter was actually aspecting this house, or was in it, but yeah, at some point, during your life. So, yeah, this is also the house of your daily work routines, daily habits, your fitness, your, gym routine, if that's a thing, stuff like that. So, it's an interesting placement, because what is Pisces? Pisces is the natural 12th house. So it wants to be in the 12th house, but it's in the 6th house. So Pisces represents sleep. And what did I do the majority of my life? Slept because I had a endocrine imbalance, and that, just caused a bunch of crazy stuff in my life. So yeah, your daily work routine is going to be all over the place. And I say this from personal experience. Because until I started developing my own spiritual practice from my teacher, my guru, that he taught me, my life was pretty crazy. It was like, I shouldn't say that, it was boring as hell, but it was just not a consistent routine. I would wake up at like 2 p.m., eat breakfast, stay up until like 5 a.m. and then go to bed. So it was pretty you know, unbalanced, pretty just unorganized. And for the majority of my life, I felt like I didn't want to be here. I didn't want to do any routine, any daily routine. I wanted to be not here. I wanted to be somewhere else. You know, so I wanted to be in La La Land, in, you know, fantasy world and whatever. So this kind of gives you a unstable daily work routine, daily routine. So, and then as far as fitness, that's, you know, also not consistent. So what I would recommend is doing a daily spiritual practice, aka these things right here, especially the self-transformation challenge, because that basically combines Kundalini yoga, Qigong, and meditation, and it's a practice that you can do morning and night, so it keeps you in a good routine. And yeah, it's once you start getting into a good routine, you'll start getting healthier, start getting, you know, more energy, more, you know, because it's consistent. And yeah, so there you can see me doing some yoga there. So yeah, it's another thing that I would recommend is walking every day. Pisces is the feet. The feet need to move. So, especially for me, like, walking has been super helpful, just to get out of the house, just to kind of get my own thoughts out of my head, to move my body, to breathe, to just get fresh air. So walking definitely helps. Even if you don't want to do the gym, you can at least walk. So it doesn't have to be long. 30 minutes is good. I mean, you know, something like that. So anyway, so yeah, 7th house. 7th house, Aries. So yeah, remember what I said about the codependency? Yeah, you would be having, like, with Libra Ascendant, you would be having a very controlling, very dominant partner who acts masculine. Even if you're a man married to a woman, sorry, she's gonna act very masculine, very controlling, very dominating, very aggressive, very overbearing. And yeah, fun stuff. However, with Aries, she could be very physically attractive. So there's the upside. But yeah, she would wear the pants in the relationship. So all the more reason, especially if you're a guy and a woman, it works both ways. So if you have Libra Ascendant, coda.org is your best friend. Codependence Anonymous, highly recommend it. You know, because you can focus on other people and make them the priority, even if they aren't doing it themselves, even if they aren't making themselves the priority in the relationship. Your tendencies, your codependent tendencies, can set the dynamic to make them the priority. And you just kind of tag along and don't stand up for your own needs and wants and desires. Therefore, you can start feeling very very resentful towards your partner, and that can take the form of passive aggression. Acting out in passive aggressive ways, things like that. So yeah, you need to clean up your side of the street, get your stuff in order, take care of yourself, and then you'll have to look at your D9 chart for what your marriage is going to be like. So I would highly recommend not getting married until you've done the 12 steps and gotten some help with your codependent nature. I mean, it's all good if you were this. The reason that this happens in people is that look at your second house and look at your fourth house. You probably feel like a burden. You probably feel worthless and like a mistake, like just there's so much shit that we carry from our childhood that just kind of makes us codependent. So anyway, highly recommend, as I already said, coda.org. So yeah, I think that's all I have to say about the 7th house. So 8th house. 8th house is Taurus. So I'm laughing because being codependent kind of makes you dependent on other people's resources, and that's where Taurus is. So that's where the the 8th house is. So alright, so Taurus in the 8th house. What is the 8th house? The 8th house is shared resources. The 8th house is shared investments, shared finances, things like that. And it's sudden ups and downs, sudden gains and losses, sudden changes, sudden whatever. Crazy things that happen in your life. Alright, so Taurus is in your 8th house. And all I can say is count your blessings, because this could be a lot worse. Taurus is a very slow moving sign. It's slow, it's grounded, it doesn't want to move fast, it's stubborn. And Taurus represents wealth, money, valuables, possessions, finances, things like that. And So instead of your 8th house giving you heck, this can mean that your joint assets with your spouse will slowly be appreciating. So, you're not going to have any major come up, become a millionaire overnight. Nope. However, your shared assets, your shared finances, financial investments and things like that will appreciate quite greatly over the years. So by the time you retire or whatever it is you're doing, 10, 20, 30, 50 years, those assets that you've saved, those investments that you've made are going to pay off, and you could benefit greatly from that investment. So advice, start investing now. Actually, I would say start saving now. With the volatility of the markets right now, in this recession, I would not recommend investing. However, what do I know? I'm not like a investment guy. So yeah. And then we have the 9th house. So so 8th house also represents in-laws. So this means that you could get some kind of inheritance from your in-laws or something like that, which could boost your wealth greatly. Alright, so 9th house. This is where I have most of my planets. Well, I do have a lot of planets in this placement. So we have Gemini in the 9th house. So what is Gemini? Gemini is the intellect. Gemini is the natural ruler of the 3rd house. So there's that. Gemini is the communication ability, your ability to communicate, to, to write. Gemini represents the hands, and then the 9th house is the house of your guru. The 9th house is the house of good luck, fortune, things like that. Hold on, because my dog is going crazy. Alright, so dogs were going crazy. Alright, so let's get back to the 9th house. So the 9th house is the house of your teachers. It's the house of your gurus, your mentors. It's the house of, learning, higher learning about religion, philosophy, higher education, spirituality, religion, and things like that. So yeah, so it's about learning about that stuff, including astrology and things like that. So yeah, and I have my Sun, Mars, and Venus here in this house, in Gemini here. So yeah, so what this does is it gives you like the intellect, the ability to really have have the ability to learn a lot of this stuff very easily and very quickly. You absorb knowledge very quickly with this placement. And you're more interested in like spirituality and astrology, things like that. Unless you had Mercury placed in like the fifth house or something like that, or like an educational sign like Leo or something like that. Fifth house would be that. So this could be higher education and things like that, like philosophy, stuff like that. But mainly it's spirituality and things like that. So it's anyway, so then we have the 10th house. So remember how I told you that the 4th house and the 10th house are in opposite positions? Well, so Cancer and Capricorn were both in different positions. So Cancer in the 10th house means that you would have a profession in which you nurture people. You have those motherly qualities, and you could be a nurse, you could be a therapist, a psychologist, something like that. Something where it deals with the emotions. Cancer is very emotional, a very emotional sign. And emotional people, well, let's just say we're all emotional, but people who are having we're all emotional because we're human beings. That's just the facts. So people who are having like an emotional day, or having a lot of emotions, need to have someone to talk to. They need somebody to vent to get, clarity and perspective, and, someone to also nurture them through their feelings. A lot of people get dysregulated, like any little feeling could set them off, that like the nervous system. So as children, like all of this stems back to what I know and what I experienced. So as a child, Scorpio in the 2nd house, Capricorn in the 4th. I was never taught how to have my feelings, so so any feeling that I did have was extremely overbearing for me. I didn't know how to handle it, and I became emotionally dysregulated, which meant like my nervous system was firing, and the physical sensations of the emotions became too much to handle, and that's when we need to seek help, support from a therapist, a counselor, something like that. So I don't have those credentials, but I am a life coach and a career coach, I guess you would call me. So in a sense, yeah, I do nurture people through their emotions. And that's Cancer in the 10th house. So then 11th house would be Leo. Now this is a funny one because this is like you remember how I didn't know how to quite place Aquarius in the 5th house? That's because Aquarius belongs in the 11th house and Leo belongs in the 5th house. So I have just as much trouble placing Leo in the 11th house than I do Aquarius in the 5th. So basically Leo is fun expression, creative expression. Leo is also being a leader. And it's being in authority, it's, making people feel comfortable, making people feel like they're like, all that stuff. So I'm trying to gather my thoughts. So Leo is the leader, and 11th house represents gains, so you can gain a lot through being a leader monetarily. You can gain a lot through being in authority, or you can gain a lot through authority. So for example, I am on disability. I get my income through the government. Authority. Government. Things like that. Leo in the 11th house. So this means that you could work in government, and combining that with the 10th house, you could work for the government as a psychologist or therapist or something like that. Another thing in my case is like I lead a men's group. I lead a men's group basically that's what Leo in the 11th house represents. 11th house is also big groups of people. Aquarius being in charge of the 11th house represents large groups, large crowds, networking, things like that. So yeah, so anyway, let's see. So 12th house. I have K2 in my 12th house, which is a positive thing for my spirituality and spiritual growth and things like that. 12th house, but it's Virgo in the 12th house. So spirituality is going to seem like a lot of work to you. It's going to, you're going to want to analyze it. You're going to want to figure it out from a mental perspective, a logical perspective. And speaking for myself, I've done this in the past too. And sorry, it just isn't there. It's the opposite of logic. It's feeling, it's intuition, it's emotion, it's things like that. And you can't logic your way out of that. I'm sorry. It's just not going to make sense to your logical, analytical brain. So that's the 12th house. Virgo in the 12th house is also, Virgo is how you provide service to people. 12th house is spirituality. It's also working in a hospital. It's also bed pleasures. So, you know, sexual activity, things like that. 12th house is foreign travels, so you might end up working in a foreign country. So there's that. And that would make sense with Pisces being in the 6th house. Pisces is foreign travel, foreign countries. 6th house is your daily work. So it's this is the hard thing about it, about analyzing a Libra's chart. Both sides of their chart are saying the same thing in different ways. For example, Gemini in the 3rd, or Sagittarius in the 3rd house, you love to speak about philosophy, religion, spirituality, things like that. For me, astrology would be included in that. However, the opposite too. The 3rd house is the 9th house. So we have Gemini in the 9th house, which means that Gemini is speaking. 9th house is religion, spirituality, philosophy, higher education. So both sides, geez, I can't talk today. Both sides of the chart are saying the same thing in different ways. So this is like why it gets so tedious. I'm like, what does this actually mean? It's two different opposite energies being clashed together. And so Libras often have indecision. They often can't decide what they want or what's best for them, and so they codependently turn to others to make that decision. So yeah, it's a challenge for sure. So anyway, got done with all the 12 houses. Let me see how. And in under an hour. Yay. So yeah, this is a long one, guys. So I'll just quickly go through my stuff. I have all my products, courses, services, everything that I have to offer is on sale. So go to gebotheshaman.com and check it out. Pick up, whatever you're interested in. It's on sale, so it's really not that bad of a deal. It's actually a hell of a good deal on all of my stuff. So go check that out. Anyway, we have the Vedic Astrology Certification course, which basically walks you through step A through step Z of all of my, processes and steps of how I do a Vedic astrology reading. And so it's very simple. It's laid out for you step by step. You don't need to be an astrology genius to figure it out. So once you get once you pass the certification exam, then you can get your own Vedic astrology website from me. So, and not only that, you'll be promoted on the channel too. So it's a great way to get your name out there, get, clients and things like that. So, the channel is growing, so it's a good opportunity to get your foot in the door right now, so that, when that channel growth happens, more people can be exposed to your services and what you do. So it's a great opportunity for people. Alright, so then we have my Vedic astrology readings. So I have my standard reading that I give everybody, and then I have my readings where I go into your career and your birth time, or your your relationships and your career. If you want to know more about those things, then you can go to my website. I also have birth time rectification, so I am one of the rare astrologers that does this to absolute perfection and accuracy. I don't just throw a random number or a random birth time out there, and I do my research. I do your chart analysis. It's very tedious and takes a lot of time, so that's why I charge so much for it. Even with the sale and stuff. So anyway, then we have the Qigong courses. These things changed my life, especially this one, the Self-Transformation Challenge. That basically combines and synergizes the three energies of the body. We have Kundalini Yoga. We have Qigong, so we have Kundalini Qi energy, and the third energy is the lightning energy of the heart center. So yeah, there's a lot to get into with that. I'll just leave it there for now. There's also guided meditations there, so check it out. So you have the option to either purchase the course outright, or you can purchase it. You can basically sign up for my Patreon, which is not very expensive, but when you do that, you get both courses combined into Patreon subscription. So there's that. And then we have career coaching and life coaching. So if you're unsure what to do in life and you're just kind of floating on by without any purpose or passion or anything like that, it's not a good thing, because that leads to depression. When you don't see a future for yourself, when you don't have a goal, a passion, anything, that's not a good place to be. So best thing you can do is to get a career consultation with me. I also am available for life coaching if you like. So yeah, go find the links. All available down at GeboTheShaman.com and patreon.com/GeboTheShaman. Alright? That's all for me. I'm tired of talking, so thanks guys. See you next time, and peace.